methods. So what we have to do is go to your styles.css file. You can find that styles.css in src. Am I right? In src, you will have styles.css. This is where you can add your global styles, so that all components can use those styles, right? For development, for production, different locations are there to configure. Initially, you can go to styles.css, and enable here the bootstrap. So how you can import the bootstrap here? So we have to use command, so that is import. So we have to import from which location? So you need to come out of this src folder, because you can observe here the node modules folder is present above the src. That means outside the src. Currently style.css is inside src. So you come out of that folder, then we have to use //. That means it comes out of the current folder. The current folder is src. In the end, goes to node modules. In node modules, you will have bootstrap. In the bootstrap, you will have dist. In the dist, you have distribution, css. In the css, we have bootstrap.css. So I will import the bootstrap.css. That is the core bootstrap file. We are adding bootstrap.css. That core bootstrap file is added here. So what we need to do is we need to configure this. Single dot means same folder. Yes. So what we have to do now, go to src in that style, right? We have that style.css. I will copy that line. So we have to go to styles.css. So we need to go to styles.css. Here we have to import this. So once bootstrap is imported, you can see by default some effects are there. Yes, you can add in Angular JSON also. So I already told you there are various locations in Angular JSON. You can add into this styles, am I right? Because already in that Angular styles, this styles.css is configured. Then if you add one more, then what will happen is number of requests will increase. I hope you know this. Number of requests will increase, right? Due to that, it will perform slow. Am I right? So then better, bundling technique. Bundling. You heard about bundling. Am I right? Bundling. Bundling means already bootstrap have bundle.css, bundle.js. The bundling is nothing but all the css files are kept, references are kept in one file, and you will make a request to that one file. Response will come from all of them. Understood? That means it will reduce the number of requests. And improves the page load time. If you keep number of CSS in this styles reference, what will happen? For every style sheet, a request has to go. Due to that, the page load time will increase. We can avoid that. By using this technique. Am I right? That means now actually style.css is requesting by our application. If in style.css, I keep all my CSS files, import, this is bundling. You are bundling it. So once you are bundling, that means with one request, you are accessing all of them. I hope everyone clear, right? So it is accessing everyone, right? Everything, right? So now the point is, I imported this bootstrap.css. And once I imported the bootstrap.css, you can observe in the design. You can see some changes happened in our application. Some changes means by default, Bootstrap will apply some font style. By default, Bootstrap will change the margins, and button style also a little bit changed. Default applied. How you can apply the Bootstrap classes? You can now apply the Bootstrap classes for your component. Let's go to home component. Let's apply Bootstrap here. So div class, I will use it as a container fluid, right? That is a Bootstrap class. You all people know about it. And heading, I will put a class. Heading class, I will give as some text primary, and I will give text center. These are all Bootstrap classes. And for button, I will give a class as btn, and btn outline, suppose some success like this. And I save this, and you can see that now your application is ready to use Bootstrap. Am I right? Your application is ready to use Bootstrap. Now you can make your entire presentation good with your Bootstrap. This is how you are using Bootstrap in your projects now. Am I right? This is how you are using Bootstrap in your project, right? You know how do we apply Bootstrap, configure the Bootstrap, and use Bootstrap in our application. Yes. So this is the change we have done in our home component. This is the change we have done in our home component. That means go to home component, home.component.html, and add Bootstrap classes to HTML elements. This is what I have done. So I applied some Bootstrap classes. Yes, you can use CDN link, but important is when you are using CDN link, one of the main point is if the server is not responding, then I hope you know that, right? CDN is always risk. That is not easy. Am I right? CDN always have to face the risk with the server response, right? Yeah. If you know about that, then you know why to use local CSS files, why to use CDN, right? So CDN is good for making your a global repository across various projects you want to access, right? Currently, while working with local is better because we don't need to wait for that server to respond to send a CSS. Am I right? Huh? Right? Yeah. So that is important. So we don't prefer CDS as initial developing process because even we use CDN when our repository is global in our companies. Okay, right. So as of now, this is the approach how we can manage. So everything is ready. So Bootstrap is ready. This is how we are using Bootstrap. But now we want more effective, more interactive. For example, I want a date time picker calendar. Does Bootstrap have a date time picker? Does Bootstrap have a date time picker? Bootstrap have a date time picker, right? You can believe on different clouds, but always clouds have a problem na, if you want to use CDN. So there will be issues. It depends on your requirement. You can use anything. Right now, don't worry about CDN or local because you can use anything according to your requirement. Yeah, Bootstrap alone don't have any date time picker. Am I right? So you need a jQuery UI date time picker, na? jQuery UI date time pickers are required. So many components are there. So now the advantage for Angular developers is Angular developers now can implement a similar type of component design like Bootstrap and developed by the Google Angular team for Angular. And that is what we call as Angular material.